Ever catch yourself wishing there was a guidebook for life? Like a cheat sheet for getting through tough situations and just being a better you.
Well, that's kind of what we're diving into today.
Exactly. And believe it or not, this deep dive takes us all the way back to ancient Rome.
We're going to explore the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius and his incredible personal writings, meditations.
What's so fascinating about Aurelius is that his writings weren't some big philosophy lecture, meant for the public,
It's more like we're getting a peek into this emperor's private journal.
and not just any emperor.
Right. Aurelius ruled during a time of plagues and wars, just constant turmoil.
It's hard to wrap your head around leading an empire, dealing with one crisis after another.
And still taking the time to reflect on how to be a better person.
Yeah, you've got to wonder where he found the time.
It's that contrast that I think makes his writing resonate even today, centuries later.
Totally. It's this powerful emperor grappling with the same stuff we all face, dealing with difficult people.
Trying to manage your emotions, finding meaning in all the chaos.
And he did all of this while embracing Stoicism, right?
Absolutely. Stoicism is a philosophy that's all about aligning your will with the natural order of the universe.
Okay, so for those of us who aren't philosophy experts, what does that actually mean? What was so radical about Stoicism back then?
Imagine this. You're being told that true freedom doesn't come from power or possessions.
Okay, that's already a radical idea, especially back then.
Exactly. Stoicism is about mastering your inner world. It's recognizing that you can't control everything that happens to you, but
But you can control how you react to it.
yes, it's about focusing on your choices.
So Aurelius used meditations almost like a personal space to explore these Stoic principles.
Exactly. Throughout his writing, you see Aurelius constantly reminding himself to focus on what he can control.
To accept what he can't.
Yes, and to strive to live in accordance with nature, with reason.
It's like you can picture him, right, in the middle of some intense meeting about the Roman Empire, and he's jotting down in his journal, "Don't sweat the small stuff."
That's a great way to put it, except in his case, it wasn't exactly small stuff, was it?
No, not at all. And he didn't shy away from the big questions either. There's this part, I think it's in book 4, where he basically says to himself, "Get ready, because death is coming,"
And not just that, but that we should live each day as if it's our last.
which is a pretty intense thought, right?
It is, and it's not about being morbid or fatalistic.
Right. It's not about wanting to die.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that our time is limited. By accepting that, by not clinging to things we can't control, like how long we live, we can actually live more fully.
It's like that saying, don't be afraid of death. Be afraid of wasting the life you have.
That's a great way to put it.
But knowing Aurelius was an emperor,
Mm.
he had huge responsibilities. Did he actually live by that philosophy? Like, did he rule Rome as if each day was his last?
Well, that's where it gets even more interesting.
So Aurelius, emperor of Rome, did he actually live every day like it was his last?
See, that's what's so cool about Aurelius. He wasn't some untouchable philosopher. He was dealing with real life, just like us.
Right.
So yeah, he loved this idea of making the most of every day, but he also had to think long term, think about the future of Rome and everything.
Let's talk about a balancing act. So we've got Aurelius reflecting on life and death like a pro,
Right.
but also being a super practical leader dealing with, I'm sure, tons of drama.
Exactly. And that's actually why his thoughts on dealing with people are so interesting.
Oh, how so?
Think about it. Today, we're all about being busy, getting things done, and Aurelius is over here saying, hold on, everyone deals with the same human struggles.
I like that.
Like he's got this line in book 2, I think it's paragraph 1. He says, when you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly.
Whoa. He wasn't kidding around.
All right. Sounds kind of familiar, doesn't it?
Totally. Some days that's like my entire inbox. So is he saying we should just avoid people altogether? Become hermits?
Not exactly. Remember, Stoicism is about aligning yourself with the natural order.
Right, right.
And guess what? Humans, flaws and all, we're part of that order.
True enough.
So instead of letting those flaws control us, Aurelius is saying, look, expect them, accept them. It's just part of being human.
So it's more like people are going to people, and we just got to roll with it.
Exactly. It's not about saying bad behavior is okay, but it's choosing how you react to it.
Oh, I like that. So someone cuts you off in traffic, you take a breath and...
Exactly. You choose not to let it ruin your day. Their behavior is on them, not you.
Okay, I can see how that would be helpful. I think one reason I love Aurelius is he's got all these aha moments, these little nuggets of wisdom.
He's got a lot of them, that's for sure.
Like that line, think of yourself as dead. You have lived your life. Now take what's left and live it properly. It's from Book 7, paragraph 31.
Yeah.
Hits you right between the eyes.
Powerful, isn't it?
It is, but it can also be a little, I don't know, jarring.
I get that. It's not about wishing your life away or obsessing about death.
Right.
It's about urgency. Aurelius is basically saying, hey, your time is precious, so live like it.
Oh, that's a good way to put it. Make choices that matter, because time is running out.
Exactly. Let go of the things you can't control, the petty stuff. Focus on the present moment. Live fully right now.
You know, that's something we all struggle with.
I know.
I mean, look at our world. It's all do more, achieve more, be more.
It's so easy to forget about just being present, right?
Exactly. I bet Aurelius would tell us to put down our phones, step away from our to-do lists for a minute.
He probably would. And this leads into another big theme in meditation's virtue. Aurelius truly believed that striving to be good, living a virtuous life, that's where real happiness comes from.
And he doesn't just talk about it.
Oh, no! He wrestles with it.
That's what makes it so relatable.
100%.
Yeah.
He embodies the Stoic idea that becoming virtuous is a journey, not a finish line.
Yeah, I get that.
He's got this quote, it's in Book 10, paragraph 16. He says, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one.
Ooh, I like that. Straight to the point.
Right. No more debating. Just go out there and live a good life.
Love it. So action speaks louder than words.
Exactly. But even Aurelius, Mr. Virtue, he had his moments, you know?
Oh, really? Like what?
Well, he talks about struggling with his temper.
No way.
Yeah, in Book 11, paragraph 18, he reflects on how even he, a Stoicism pro, would get angry sometimes. It's hard to control.
You know what? That actually makes me feel better.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, here's this emperor, right? And he's dealing with the same emotions as me. Kind of comforting.
It is. And it gets to the heart of Stoicism. We all have this inner citadel.
Oh, right. The inner citadel. What was it again?
It's like this strong place inside you, a place of resilience. When things get tough, you can go there.
So it's not about ignoring the world.
No. It's about building inner strength so that outside stuff doesn't mess with your emotions.
Oh, I see. So you're still aware of what's going on, but it doesn't wreck you.
Exactly. And this takes work. Aurelius talks about that. It's a constant process.
Always got to be working on ourselves.
Right. Always reflecting, always trying to improve. It never really ends.
Oh, Aurelius is full of wisdom. What would you say is the biggest takeaway for our listeners, especially if they're just discovering meditations?
I think it's that true strength. It comes from within. It's about focusing on what you can control, your thoughts, your reactions, your choices.
Not letting the outside world call the shots.
Exactly. Accept what you can't change and choose to live each day with purpose. Like you mean it.
Purpose and virtue. And what I love is how relatable Aurelius makes it.
Right.
He's not some stuffy philosopher on a pedestal. He's right there with us going through it all. And speaking of going through it all, we're going to dive into even more of Aurelius's experiences in just a moment. But first, a quick break.
And we are back. Still hanging out with Marcus Aurelius and his mind-blowing journal, Meditations. You know, it really is amazing. Not every day you get to peek inside the head of an emperor.
Right, let alone an emperor who also happens to be a philosopher.
It's that combo that makes Aurelius so interesting. You can tell he's not just talking about Stoicism to sound smart, you know?
Totally. It's like he's really wrestling with these ideas, trying to live them out.
Absolutely. Like when he talks about getting angry, losing his temper, makes you realize even emperors are human.
100%. We're all works in progress, right?
Yeah.
Even emperors.
Right. And that brings us to one of the most powerful things about Aurelius's philosophy. We can all grow. We can all become better versions of ourselves.
I love that.
It's a journey, not a destination. Aurelius says it beautifully in Book 5, paragraph 8. All things are interwoven with one another, and the tie is sacred, and there is hardly anything unconnected with any other thing, for things have been coordinated and they combine to form the same universe, order.
Whoa. Okay, there's a lot to unpack there. But it's like he's saying everything is connected.
Exactly. We're connected to each other, to something bigger than ourselves.
It's like when you look up at the stars and feel how huge the universe is.
Yes. It puts things in perspective.
Big time.
And I think that's what Aurelius found so valuable, that perspective. Even as emperor, with all that pressure, he knew real peace came from within, from understanding your place in the grand scheme of things.
From aligning yourself with that natural order we were talking about.
Exactly.
Which brings us back to the inner citadel.
There it is. our inner fortress.
So Aurelius is basically giving us the tools to build that, right? To create that inner strength.
100%.
Yeah.
And what I love is that Meditations isn't just some abstract philosophy book.
Right, it's practical.
Totally. He gives you exercises, reminders, things you can actually use in your life, even today.
It's like having a heart-to-heart with a super wise friend, someone who gets it, who's been there.
I love that. And as we wrap up our deep dive into Meditations, what do you think is the biggest takeaway for our listeners? What should they remember?
Oh, good question.
Yeah.
I think it's this. True happiness, true fulfillment, it doesn't come from chasing stuff or trying to control everything.
It comes from mastering yourself.
Yes, mastering yourself, cultivating virtue, aligning with the universe, big stuff.
It is big, but Aurelius makes it accessible and incredibly relevant, even though he lived centuries ago.
Totally. He reminds us that no matter what life throws our way, it's about finding that inner strength, that stoic resilience.
So we can face it all with courage and grace.
Beautifully said. And you know what? Maybe, just maybe, by listening to Aurelius, we can all find a little more peace in our lives.
A little more purpose, a little more joy.
I'm down for all of that. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone.
Until next time.
Keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep seeking out those timeless truths. We'll catch you next time.